Kevin Smith drops a rumor. Doctor Strange drops a trailer. Star Trek drops a timeline. Batman v Superman drops an R rating. Hang on to your capes, ladies and gentlemen. You're about to join Super Geeks.
Holy announcers. Where'd this guy come from?
I know, that was pretty good, don't you think?
Nice, guys.
Yeah, I liked it.
He sounds
You need to hire that announcer for, to start our show.
He sounds like that guy from the Super Friends whenever they go, meanwhile in the Hall of... I can't...
Meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice.
Meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice.
We'll just call him announcer guy.
Yeah.
All right, I'm George, and with me today is... first I'm George. You can find me at Chooch99A on social media. Super Geeks has Twitter too. I keep forgetting to remind everybody. It's Super Geeks 7 for Twitter, and it's Super Geeks 99. We so far get nothing but hate mail. I keep sending it to the spam folders. It's always from the same person too. His name's Bob. I don't know who the heck he is.
I love hate mail.
He keeps saying your show sucks. Your show sucks. Your show sucks. Your show sucks. And
Then we're doing something right.
He's obviously still listening.
He's listening, but even though he says our show sucks, he's still listening.
That's funny.
Hi, Bob.
Sucks, just go away. Just stop listening to it.
I know. Why does he keep listening? Is he hoping that... is he self...
Must be a glutton for punishment.
Yeah,
I think so.
He's a masochist.
Or he just likes to get attention on social media. I don't know. Hoping that we'll mention him, which I actually just gave him a lot of power, didn't I?
Now he's going to double his efforts. Good job, George.
We have had one person say they liked the show, but it was my girlfriend, so I don't know if that counts.
No, it does not.
It's a little biased, isn't it?
If she tells us
Pretty
she
much.
likes the show, maybe.
Oh, all right. And Magnum, where can people find you on social media?
You can find me on Twitter at Anthony Battles.
And, of course, Will. And where can people find you?
On Twitter at Intrinsicus. That's intrinsic with a US on the end.
That's your default go-to response, but how do people spell it? Because there's a lot of dumb people out there.
Well, they can't spell Intrinsicus, then they don't need to be listening to me.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point. That's a good point. And Ross, where can people find you?
On Twitter, Subsailor688.
And whoever that announcer guy was, where can people find you?
Same location.
I was hoping you'd do announcer voice for that one, but okay.
You can find me out in the cold void.
I just kind of gave away that was Ross, didn't I? Okay.
Yeah, you sure did. Thanks, George.
I'll edit it out.
Nope, too late.
All right. So the last episode, I will be completely honest, I had to edit the heck out of it because I had a couple of drinks with a neighbor who insisted.
A couple.
And, I mean...
Dude, you were so far gone, it wasn't even funny.
I kept saying,
What happens
podcast.
when I go away for a week?
Exactly, because he keeps me in check, or at least he tries. He takes the keys away. And
Keep you guys on topic.
yeah, that too. And so I'm down. I had a neighbor that was like, insisting I drink a couple of shots of gin with him, and then one or two shots led to one or two more, and then all of a sudden I'm looking at the clock and I'm going, oh, I got to go do Super Geeks. And he's like, no, you should keep drinking gin with me. And I said, no, man, I got a responsibility because I'm trying to keep the show on a regular basis. I didn't realize how hard it hit me till we're halfway through, not even halfway, like the first 10 minutes of the show. Actually, the first 2 minutes of the show. But it took me several days to edit it, let's put it that way. So I sound a little less stupid, but if you heard the unedited version, people, trust me, the FCC would get involved. Let's put it that way.
Well, that's your penance.
Yeah, I suppose. I should probably get rid of all the evidence that there is an uncut version.
Well, if you can get away with that radio.
Yeah, I know, but this was just stupid. There's a difference between crude and stupid. There's a fine line.
Well, I think Will did a good job last week for the show. So
Sounds like a wet amber line.
I don't even know what that is.
Drinks.
Oh. I drink Natty Daddy, but I was drinking gin that night.
Okay, so it's a clear wet line.
Yeah.
It's
Just stay
funny.
away from the
There's a girl that I know in my personal life I don't even call her by her first name. I just call her Shots. So, like, if I'm getting together with some friends, I'm like, hey, where's Shots? Well, the reason why is whenever she gets together with us, we see her come in, we're like, hey, hey, hey. She's all, Shots! Everybody, let's get shots!
I'll tell you a quick story that I forgot to tell you guys about. I'm walking, like, that night, I was actually after the show. I went to the store, actually, to get more beer, and I'm walking back, and I run into this girl that I've seen talk to my neighbors across the street, and she's like, I've seen you. Aren't you my neighbor? And I'm like, I guess so. And she introduces herself as I'm walking home, and then we're talking, and she goes, yeah, there's a friend of mine that runs this convenience store up the street, and his girlfriend was murdered a couple of weeks ago. And I said, she goes, so I would keep a watch out in this neighborhood. And I said, I'm not worried about it. I'm Batman. You should have seen her face. It was pretty funny, actually.
She probably thought you were the murderer.
I think she did. She's like, you think you're Batman? I said, I know I am. I've got a show. So anyways, it was just funny.
Speaking of, when's the next episode supposed to come out?
As soon as it gets edited, we just got a new editor, so that'll come out at some point. Hopefully not too long, because it's done, except for the editing.
At this point, we might as well just wait till next Christmas.
That's exactly what Adrian said, who plays one of our two characters, Harley Quinn and Oracle. So, yeah, it's a crude show. You know, it's so crude that people won't play it on their stations because of, meetings they've had and crude language. But you know what? It was
extreme
always
vulgarity.
It was meant to be like Howard Stern. When my girlfriend first gave me the idea for making the show, it was basically the idea was if Batman decided to become like Howard Stern, or if Howard Stern was Batman, what would it be like? And so you kind of have to be vulgar in order to be authentic. So, because if we tried an uncensored version with beeps and all that, but it just was more annoying because there was too many beeps because there's so many swears.
It was pretty funny though.
Yeah, definitely. So anyways, we got an interesting show tonight. There's so much news. It's funny how podcasts work. That's why I like doing weekly shows. There's news that drops at sometimes you get weeks where just tons of breaking news comes out when it comes to the geek genre. And sometimes you go when you have to dig up things to talk about. But this is not going to be one of those weeks because we got a lot to talk about. First topic up is that, like Announcer Guy announced, Kevin Smith, who just directed an episode of The Flash, was on his. I was watching his latest podcast. He did it live at Radio City Hall, and he announced that the it wasn't really an announcement from them, but he confirmed it, so it's not a rumor because he was there when they told him, and he said not only was the Supergirl Flash crossover on the CW, or actually in this case CBS, so highly rated, they are planning tons of crossovers in the future with it, and one's coming very soon. And it's because the fans want that. They think it's awesome. It's almost like a mini Justice League when that happens. And so he said that they're not only planning a very soon to come, sooner than expected crossover where she goes to the Flash's universe, but they're talking about doing this on a regular basis, like 2 or 3 times each season for both shows, like they do with Arrow and Flash. And I thought that was awesome because we talked about this at least 2 times on different episodes, but the chemistry that the two characters have did not go unnoticed. And Kevin Smith's partner, I forget the guy's name, on his podcast made a funny joke. He's like, I didn't care about any of the bad guys or any of the fights. I just wanted to see Barry and Kara eating ice cream for the whole episode because it was so adorable. It was like little things, you know what I mean?
Are they going to do just with the Flash, or is he going to go to the Arrow as well? I mean, all 3 of them. My
personal opinion is they're going to go for a ratings sky high and bring Arrow in as a 3-way crossover. Because think about it.
If Supergirl's going to visit the Flash in his universe, then yeah, after watching the crossover, I went back and finally saw the pilot for the Flash, and I was kind of surprised how they just brought Green Arrow in out of nowhere.
Well, no, then again, I don't know if you had kept up with Arrow. Oh yeah, you're still a couple seasons behind. He became the Flash on Arrow. You're probably not on that season. I'm not sure. Are you? Have you seen the particle accelerator explosion at Star Labs?
In the pilot of the Flash.
Right, but I mean on Arrow.
No, I haven't.
Okay, that's why you were surprised. Is because it's kind of a spoiler, but it's just you already know they get to know each other. I can't remember what season it is. I think it's 3, but don't quote me on that. But it all
last
started.
Season. It wasn't season 2. So.
Well, I think if I had to guess, I think it was 3, but I could be wrong. But Arrow in an arc on Arrow, the Star Labs particle accelerator explosion happened, and Solomon Grundy got created from that. He was in an episode. They slowly introduced metahumans because of this, and he had already been dating Felicity, and as a CSI guy working with for several episodes prior to the event of him becoming the Flash, they had set it up so that Barry got to know Ollie and learned who he was, and Felicity, and he was dating her. And...
All right, that explains why there was that huge gap in between the explosion and the accelerator and everything else.
Yep, and then when
he went to sleep, he was knocked out for about a year. So
it was a year. Yep, he was in a coma from
it.
Yeah, and so that's why there's a history already between the two characters, because you're a couple of seasons behind or whatever.
Okay.
So
according to Kevin Smith, something's happening that will affect Supergirl in such a great way that you think it's cute, like puppies and kittens.
I know what I think I know
he
what it is.
He says, you're going to cry when you see how beautiful this thing is.
And I think I know what it is. I was going to actually, that's one of my notes I wrote on my notepad that isn't on the show notes.
But he says you're going to cry. So
yeah, I think I know what it is.
Maybe Supergirl is going to die like Superman and Batman vs Superman. And then at the end, you'll see the dirt rumble and lift off the coffin or something.
No, you know what I think it is?
I doubt it.
I think I'll tell you what I think it is. They show a preview in the finale coming up of Superman, but they do that thing where you don't see his face because that's how they've done it on Supergirl. He's coming to help her, and then he gets affected by whatever it is the bad guys are doing, and he gets hypnotized, and then he immediately drops down. But you're seeing this from such a distance, you can't see his face, but you can tell it's him. And then he starts walking like a zombie too, and that's in one of the preview clips that they sent out. Because the episode hasn't aired yet.
Yeah, no, the episode has already aired. That was last episode. No, dude, you are an episode behind. I am appalled, George. This is Supergirl. I love me some Supergirl.
All right, I guess
that was on Monday.
Oh, wait a minute. But you've seen the finale or the one before?
No, that was this week. When Superman fell out of the sky and became a zombie.
Yeah.
That's where that was this week. The finale is next week.
Yeah, he texted Supergirl and said, I'm on my way. And then she looks out the window and says, oh, here he comes. No, I know, and then all of a sudden he drops down and walks with the masses.
Well, then what's
I got some catching up to do.
But Kevin Smith said that it was something that was going to happen in the finale at the end of it. So you have already
But that
seen
wasn't the finale.
That's not the finale. The finale's next week.
Oh.
This is a two-part. I mean,
pay attention, George.
You can't just end it in 1 week. Basically, they left Supergirl hanging on not hanging on a cliff literally, but in a balance because the bad guys are about to take over this city and then launch their attack worldwide. And next week they get stopped. Apparently, I'm pretty sure, and everything else.
I think I know what it is. If I'm going to wager a guess, I could be wrong, but there's I did some digging around, and there's a few hints out there. I think they have cast Tom Welling to finally show Superman's face, because there's a lot of rumors on Tom Welling's end that he was approached and something's going down. So I think the fans of Smallville have wanted him to have a better, because we got such weak ending to how they couldn't show him except for CGI really in his uniform. And I think that what's going to happen is, you know how, like we talked about with Constantine, how they had permission to bring the same actor from another version of the character's show from NBC over to the CW? I think that this is what's happening with Superman. I think Tom Welling is going. I think they teased us in part 1 where you don't see Superman's face and you figure you're not going to, and in order to cause a holy crap moment where near the end, they finally show him, and it's Tom Welling. That's honestly what I think is going to happen.
That's your opinion, but is that backed up by any kind of rumors that you've heard?
Yes, because there's been a lot of rumors in certain circles. Like I can't remember the name of the site. Whenever I get rumors from the internet, I take it with a grain of salt, but I also judge the credibility of the source. Have they been right before? Such as with Doctor Who, there's certain sites and certain newspapers that if they say something and it's been like so many years and it turns out that 9 out of 10 times it's true, they are a credible source because they've got a 9 out of 10 chance of being right. So I'm going to pay attention to it. For example, Matt Smith's final Doctor Who episode where he transformed into Peter Capaldi, Jeez, I can't remember.
Times of
The
London?
Daily Mirror. The Daily Mirror, which is usually a tabloid, but they actually have some kind of an inside source. They detailed almost exactly what was going to happen months before the episode aired, and they were completely right.
Here's another hint, though.
Go ahead.
Andy, what's his name? Andy Kreisberg. He was
Andrew Kreisberg, right?
Yeah, Andy. I know him as Andy. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. He's the executive producer of the Arrow/Flash, right? He was asked if there could be a Kara Danvers on Earth 1, aka where Arrow and Flash are.
Yeah.
And he answered in a very exciting way. He says, any Kara that exists on Earth 1 would also have to have been an alien. It just can't be Kara Danvers from Poughkeepsie.
Right.
So, he's dropping a little bomb right there, too. So
this could be how it... See, I'm going to be disappointed if this is why the crossover happens, because he's re-meeting this Supergirl. Although some fans would be like, no, but this means Superman could be in this universe too. He just hasn't shown up yet. However, that being said, I want to see... hidden. Right, but I want to see a continuation of what they started in this crossover.
I think Kara saves Kara 1.
Yeah, it could be true.
Or Kara 1 saves Kara.
Right, but I've seen rumors where there's DC maybe trying to set up for, I don't know, something similar to what the Infinity Wars are going to be in Marvel, but in this case, there's something in the comics.
Crisis on Infinite Earths.
I haven't read the comic books, so I don't know.
Well,
they're talking about where they bring in multiple verses, in different universes. You got Superman 1, Superman 2, Superman 3.
And they did that. I'll tell you what it's called. It's called Crisis on Infinite Earths.
That's what they get. So
and they've already
somebody's speculating that DC is setting that up for their future movies, and all of these people are going to be coming. So you could get Flash from the TV meeting Flash from the movies.
I do think you're right about that, and I'll tell you why. Because there's a hint at the end of Flash season 1 where actually this is in the first episode. Ross, you've seen it. Remember when Wells is looking at the future paper and it mentions a crisis, and this is like in the future. That was a huge hint. In fact, if you screen cap the the holographic newspaper. I'm eating Fritos, they dry up my throat. The holographic newspaper he looks at that takes place in 2020 or something like that mentions a crisis, the Flash has disappeared, and it mentions Bruce Wayne and Oliver Queen merging Bruce Wayne Industries and Queen Industries or whatever. And so, here's the thing though. In the original Crisis on Infinite Earths, Barry Allen died he pretty much saved him and both Supergirl. Here's the irony. Him and Supergirl were the two characters that died that were the most important to the DC Universe in Crisis on Infinite Earths. So it's ironic because they're hinting that it actually might be coming in the CW universe. So if they can somehow link a multiverse war or something, an event, that could be pretty awesome.
That's what I was thinking. Because, if that's what they're setting up, and I think they're doing it different from Marvel, because Marvel just puts it out there. They got these phases, and they let you know what's going to what. If DC's keeping this under the wraps, and by the time we get to 2020, and this is what they reveal, I think that's going to be pretty awesome for me. That's going to be pretty amazing when you can bring the TV stuff meeting the movie stuff, and they're completely different. 2 Flashes, 2 Supergirls, 2 Supermans, 2 Batmans.
I hate the choice of Ezra Miller, or whatever his name is, as the Flash that they picked. He doesn't look anything like the Barry Allen of the comics or the TV show. The Barry Allen from the comics...
Is it Barry Allen, though?
Yes, they had already talked about that. It's Barry Allen. It's just not this. It's just their universe's version of Barry Allen. But when Wonder Woman, a little bit of a spoiler, but the movie's been out for so long now. I'm sorry. It's a tiny spoiler. There's a part where Wonder Woman's looking at a video clip that Lex Luthor had from a surveillance camera in the convenience store, and she sees. If you watch, there's 2 sides to it, on the left and on the right, and you see the guy who is the Flash speed off, and on the right side take care of this guy holding up the cash register at a convenience store, and he takes him out. Then he speeds right back to where he was picking up his milk or whatever. He's got a ponytail, black hair. He's got a little peach fuzz on his upper lip. He doesn't look a thing like Barry Allen should look like. But since this is a multiverse,
right? Again, there could be just a different take on that character. Like I said, I'm not gonna criticize this actor until I actually see him. I didn't criticize Ben Affleck until I saw it. I liked him as Batman. I think he did a great job as Batman. So people didn't like that choice. People didn't like Keaton being chosen as Batman in the 80s or the 90s.
Right.
Fans automatically have this picture in their mind, and they cast somebody who is not for what
Heath
they
Ledger
see.
as the Joker. They hated it. until it
And
happened.
so, but again, those guys did fantastic jobs. So you cannot judge a book by just, hey, this is one shot or one clip. Just let's hold off by just him being. Let's not say he's not super flashy. Let's wait and see what he does with it.
And they're talking about doing. Kevin Smith on his podcast said that they're planning like not just this reverse crossover. They're planning many crossovers because the ratings. The Flash crossover pretty much saved Supergirl, and guarantee. Although they haven't announced it yet, and I have a theory about that. It's getting renewed. It doesn't. Sometimes they don't announce it to the last minute. The reason people were concerned is they didn't announce the renewal of Supergirl along with the other list they gave, and I think it's because they were waiting to see what happens with the crossover for the ratings to have that extra confidence in order to make it a guarantee. That's my opinion. Another thing too is they could be adding it to that streaming network. Which will segue to one of our other topics later, but actually you can't segue later. But so we whatever. But what I'm trying to say is that they got that CBS All Access coming out. I personally think that because they know how popular Supergirl's getting, that they're going to add it to that streaming service so that you can no longer just watch it on the regular CBS.
If they do, I'm not watching it because I don't get it.
I don't think that they're going to take it off the air to send it on to the streaming service.
I do. And because look at Daredevil and all that on Netflix. I mean, if you know you've got a popular, highly rated show, why
cut your audience like that, though?
But it's not popular yet. It's just barely getting it. You've got to get it established.
No, it's not barely getting there. It was in the beginning, but
it's not getting.
Don't talk bad about Supergirl.
If they do that, they'd be cutting their audience in half.
Right. Yeah.
Because
we don't know how
Supergirl's already
marketing people look at it.
established as a broadcast medium, as a broadcast show. If you suddenly get rid of the broadcast side of it and make it streaming only, you're eliminating a large portion of your audience, and that's just unwise.
They might have advisors that told them they think it's the right move.
There's a difference between... I know what you're getting at, George. There's a difference between debuting something on the streaming service and then removing something from air and taking it to stream.
All right,
I don't think they would do that.
I think I see your point there. Yeah, well, you got a point. I hadn't thought about that. So it's a theory. At this point, we'll see what happens. Maybe they, like I said, they were waiting to see how the ratings were going to be for the Flash Supergirl crossover to see how strong of a finish the season gets for the ratings before making that final decision. Maybe one of the shareholders just was a little hesitant. He's like, I just don't know if we should keep investing in Supergirl because it has its ups and it has its downs. It's not consistent yet. When it's hot,
it's to me, when I watch it, it's still a little geeky, but I mean that's fine. It's a fun show. I mean it's entertaining in that regard. But again, once you've got it on its main TV and it's been there for the entire season, all the way through fall, all the way through spring, you can't just like Ross said, you can't just take it off and put it on your streaming show because people
you'd
would
be
just
taking a risk.
Yeah, I'm like me.
Too much of a risk.
I don't get access. I'm not going to pay for that, so I'm not going to be watching Star Trek, even though they're going to be airing it on that. I'm not going to be. If that Supergirl goes there, I won't be watching that.
I think you're right. They need
something
longer to make that, to build up that loyalty and see consistent ratings and everything.
The only time I've heard of something like that happen was with the final season of Clone Wars, but that was because Disney bought Star Wars. And so it could no longer air on Cartoon Network, which was owned by Warner Brothers. So they released the final season on Netflix.
I hadn't thought about that. That's a good analogy. I mean, that's true. Clone Wars, they believed in the show enough to... Well, they had $4 billion. It's not like they were under budget from the acquisition. But you're right. That's a good example right there. Clone Wars, final season. And it actually helped Rebels get created by doing that final season because they they really didn't stop at a certain point that made it like premature, like you didn't finish your arc or whatever you were doing. I mean, they had more episodes that were originally meant to be developed that they showed in an animatronic thing on this one website, the unfinished renders of 2 or 3 episodes. I don't know if you guys know about that. There's about 2 or 3 episodes. Well, anyways, it's a separate subject, but they believed in it. They had the money, the confidence. They've got enough confidence in all of their products to give some gambles, but getting an idea of what people want and what not being paranoid about it.
There's no risk of that happening to Supergirl anytime soon, I think. And the idea of additional crossovers is exciting. I enjoyed the one I saw. I'm going to go back and catch up on the rest of the season, and it'd be fun to see Barry Arrow and Supergirl all together.
That's what I was just going to say, but I have a question for you since we're on the subject, before we get off the subject, I should say. Since you saw the pilot, you told us that, how did you said you were confused by the Arrow and Flash's relationship, but other than that, what did you think of the pilot? As far as strength goes for a pilot of a show.
It was a solid origin story. Established the characters pretty well. It was fun. I enjoyed it.
And, yeah, wait till you see the second crossover episode, because it does a great job of jumping off the cue of him and Barry's conversation on the roof. It's great.
Well, I would say that if you're talking about shows, I mean, Flash, to me, didn't hit its stride until it began into the second season. So I mean,
no, that's not true.
To me, it didn't. I mean, it was jumping around. It was the bad guy of the week episodes and stuff. That's not the kind of thing you want. I mean, that's what Supergirl's doing now. It's the bad guy of the week. They're finding their footing. I think next season, if it gets renewed, hopefully it will.
You got a point there.
That's where they will begin putting story arcs in. That's what they're doing with Flash now.
Well, they did have a story arc though with Nod and his.
But it wasn't really
threats.
A story. It, like you said, it comes to me. They're just finding their footing. They've got to get used to this rigmarole, if you will. I don't like using that word, but I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah, that's true. Yep, I agree. All right, so Kevin Smith's excited. He just directed an episode. I can't wait to see him because he brought his old partner Jay from Jay and Silent Bob in. They wanted him to come in. They asked Kevin to bring him in. Jason Mewes. He plays two characters. He plays a character that's based off himself, who I guess runs into people, and he wants to be that guy again in other episodes of the CW. And he plays. They haven't announced who it is because they're trying to keep it hush. But Kevin said that the other character he plays is a famous bad guy from DC Comics who's never been on screen before, but he's very much a popular character, and that he is side by side with Zoom wearing his mask, and that when people see the mask, people are going to know exactly who it is. I have no idea. I can't even guess who he is. I know he's not obviously Deadlock because he's been on the show on Arrow and everything. So or Deathstroke.
Who do you think it is?
Deathstroke. I mean, I have no idea. I've seen the body part of his costume, but they won't show the mask. So I mean, they reinterpret costumes sometimes, so it's really hard to get a beat on who he is. He has some kind of a weapon. That's all he says. Some kind of very iconic weapon, and it could be anything. It could be a sword, a gun. Who the heck knows? I have no idea who this guy is, but I can't wait to find out. He said it's in the after at the very end. So I have no clue. My DC lore is pretty good, but and so is yours, Will. But and yours too, Ross. But I don't know.
I guess mine isn't.
Nope.
Okay.
Because you have to Google everything. If you knew it in your head without going to Google, then I'm going to rule you out.
Why do you think? Why do you say I Google stuff, dude? Just because I drop knowledge.
We've established this.
We have not. As you established it. You think I Google everything. Just because I drop knowledge doesn't mean that I Google it.
Web thing, so
what are you talking about, dude?
You're like a teleprompted guy.
Have you ever? Okay, have you ever written stuff down? Apparently you don't, so you don't forget it.
Yeah, I got a few notes on my notebook right here next to my mouse.
Yeah, okay, so I write stuff down. That way I read it back. That way I don't forget it.
All right.
But okay. My DC knowledge is not that good. Spider-Man. No, I'm just kidding.
You thought Supergirl was faster than the Flash. That alone discredits you. I'm sorry.
No, it doesn't. I didn't say I thought. Did you see the episode with the crossover and they raced?
Like I told you,
they were neck and neck, baby, neck and neck.
And he told her
neck and neck.
You keep
baby.
Dismissing this part, but this is a detail that matters in our world.
I'm just saying what's canon and what was on the episode. In order for her to
throw him as they raced, he would have to let her keep up. Think about it. It's just logic. If he could have outraced her, she couldn't have thrown him.
I need your source.
It's
what is that you said
sense.
Before citation?
My source is a source that's not on Google, and it's called Common Sense.
Oh, so you Google?
No, I know it's not on Google because if I look up Common Sense, it's not going to say the Flash did this.
Okay.
Ladies, you're both pretty.
I'm so pretty.
It's like putting lipstick on a pig.
Yeah, right.
All right. Anyways, so the next subject our news item that dropped this week is, well, something a lot of people have been waiting for. The Doctor Strange trailer dropped, and that just came out, I think, yesterday. What did you?
I saw it on Jimmy Kimmel. I watched it.
Oh, did you? What did you think?
Like I said, I don't know Doctor Strange. This is a character I don't know anything about. I just know he's a sorcerer of some kind. He used to be a doctor. Now he's this wizard. Benedict Cumberbatch. as Sherlock Holmes fantastic. I've seen him in a bunch of other stuff. I think he's going to be. I like it. I didn't hear a lot of his accent. I think he's trying to do an American accent.
People wonder about that.
Yeah, again, I don't. Like I said, I didn't hear a lot of it, so I'm going to wait to see that. I mean, if he's going to be doing an American accent, I hope he's as good as Henry Cavill is Superman.
He actually didn't. Again, I don't believe he used his English accent as Khan. Did he? I can't remember. In Into Darkness?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did.
Did he?
Yeah,
oh, all right.
Yeah, because Khan was Indian, so I mean, it kind of relates to being English.
But Ricardo
accents
Montalban never sounded British.
Well, no, he didn't.
Not really.
But the character is from India, so
yeah.
Yeah, anyone named Khan Noonien Singh is pretty much India.
The character was from India, but the actor was Hispanic. A lot of people forget that, especially during all the
like I said, again, that pass over. I mean, I didn't have a problem with because these are guys in space and they get a lot of different accents. So again, that's fine. But again, I don't know anything about Doctor Strange, so I could have been doing an English accent, I could have been doing an American accent. Anyway, as far as the trailer. It's an origin story. So, I mean, they're setting it up. He's the doctor. He gets in a wreck. His hands gets damaged. He goes try to find the cure.
She punched his soul
she punched it
out.
Went's looking for this ancient one who's, in the comics, there's a man. In the movies, she's a female, which is fine. Punches him, knocks him out, puts him into his astral projection phase or something. And
she punched his soul out. That's hardcore.
The Borg Queen punched his soul out.
Yeah, Tilda Swinton is the ancient one. So Tilda Swinton.
I'm wrong.
Galadriel. Yeah, it's not the Borg. Yeah.
Galadriel.
So you just discredit your geekness too. So
no, he caught himself.
I'm just saying.
He caught himself. He's caught himself within about 5 seconds. It's like when you drop something in the kitchen and you're working at a restaurant. It's 5-second rule.
I better not in the restaurant. I better not drop it in a restaurant and put it on my plate.
I'm sure they have.
That better go straight into the
Unless
bin.
you're in the kitchen, you'd never know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the thing. You never know. But if it gets around that people are dropping food, and because I've seen the chefs.
I guarantee you've been in restaurants where it's happened.
Floor,
I
and
guarantee.
These chef shows, they drop something on the floor with these student chefs. They said, that goes in the bin. I mean, what's his name?
Maybe over in England. They don't call it a bin here.
Well, what a trash can. Garbage, whatever you want to call it.
Or a trash can.
So Doctor Strange.
Squirrel. So, yeah, I mean, what Doctor Strange has always been is part of the magical genre, like, of the Marvel Universe, and the mind warping, reality warping aspects that are on different levels than what anybody's even aware of. And it looks really awesome. I mean, I think that it's going to be one of those things that it's going to be a little kind of mind-boggling to some people, entertaining, but yeah, I mean, and then they did the tease where, go ahead.
Yeah, what makes it interesting is that with Doctor Strange, there's actually more than one universe. So it's just like when you saw in the
reality is what it's going on. He hops different dimensions.
That's the thing that gets me about the trailer. Not one, as you said, George. Doctor Strange is the Sorcerer Supreme. He's all his character, his story, everything is all about magic. They didn't mention magic once in the entire trailer. Instead, they're focusing on this kind of multiple planar existence manipulation. I think.
They did that with Thor too, but remember something Thor said in the first movie: magic and science are basically the same thing. There's just how they perceive it. Like Asgard sees it as like super science. That's actually an old trope, although it's not a common trope. It's something that's been used in a lot of like Doctor Who once used the explanation. The Seventh Doctor once said in an episode where he meets Morgan Le Fay, and it has to do with King Arthur and all that's called Battlefield. It was one of his final episodes, and he says to his companion, Ace, at the time, she was trying to figure out, is magic real? And he says, it's something that was said by, and I can't remember the guy's name, it's a famous...
Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic?
That is exactly it. You're good. See, his geek helmet is back on.
I can see what they're doing and why they're doing it, and so far, Marvel's done a really good job of conveying that kind of super advanced tech.
Right, because I mean, the Asgardians basically are a super alien race. Their level is just, it seems like magic. It's like Q on Star Trek. They're not really gods, and they're not really omnipotent when they snap their fingers. It's just that from our point of view, it seems that way. because of how highly evolved they are in whatever they're doing. I mean, we would seem like magicians to a Stone Age person just by pulling out a cell phone or a lighter. So, you can create fire with this little stick or whatever it is. I mean, think about it. So, if Marvel wants to spin it to where, and I think DC's doing the same thing with the Wonder Woman angle, because she's supposed to be the version where she's the daughter of Zeus, and there's a rumor that Ares is going to be the bad guy in this next movie, and that he starts World War I because he needs war to thrive on. So he's the main villain. And I don't know if that's true, but that's a rumor. What Marvel and DC have been doing is they've been careful not to overwhelm the audience with in your face, it's just magic.
Until Doctor Strange.
Well, like you even said, you're not sure. They could be spinning it in a way that makes sense.
Yes, but in that scene where the cityscape suddenly splits into 4 different segments that are going off in 4 different directions. But if you look at like different dimensions of existence and they use it in a pseudoscience explanation, I think it's going to end up making sense in the film. Yeah, but at the moment it looks as further out than anything that Asgard had. They
kind of need to spin it that way to sell it, because they need people to go, this is a totally new way of Marvel introducing this element into their universe, into their cinema. They've strongly set up a very consistent, credible version of their comics into the movie universe. So they were talking about this on lots of podcasts over the years. The minute they introduce Doctor Strange, how far will they go? Because they've got to carefully, even with Thor, they've got a carefully, almost plausible explanation for everything that, you still have to give it like a little bit more of your imagination to allow it. But it's not unlike Apollo when he appeared on Star Trek, the original series. He was just a super form of an alien, but he was responsible for the gods on Earth. So I think it's like that. It's like whatever way they're going to spin magic and demons and all these things, it's just going to be simply, for the scientific spin on it, it's going to be they're from another dimension. The laws of physics work differently in this thing or whatever.
I got to say, the only thing that the trailer was missing was some deep bass thrums. They could have sold it as Inception 2.
Yes, it was very Inception. I haven't seen the movie, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I can't wait. I mean, it's going to be. I'm optimistic, and when they picked him, everybody was happy with that. So,
but Benedict Cumberbatch really.
I'm really liking the setup. I mean, it's going to be interesting, and they're going to be doing it in 3D, and that's mind twisting.
That's true.
That stuff could be really interesting.
That'll be trippy.
I might actually go see this in 3D.
Go see it on acid. It'll be even better. I don't do acid anymore.
You do acid. That's
no,
what you do.
I haven't done that since high school.
But so that, and again, I get we've had it in other movies. Inception was like this, right? Where they had that bending of the space time and stuff like that.
Reality bending.
Right, and so this is a new form of it. I think they're not going to go into. They're going to try to produce it or create it in a way. But again, it's magic, so they have to have some form of something that we can't explain. So they have to have that. But again,
only time
I think
will
they're
tell.
going to be relying on people being, okay, I'm going to suspend my disbelief just to go to have a good time and just be enjoying the movie.
A guy that shrinks like Ant-Man is, when you get to that level of superpowers and everything the Scarlet Witch does and all this stuff, I mean, yeah, you've already gotten to the point where you slowly eased people into the suspension of disbelief, so I think it'll work out. Anyways, we should
Marvel in general has slowly been ramping up their superpowers to the more and more
for the Infinity War.
Insane. You started out with Cap and Iron Man, and they were all real logical progressions. Then suddenly we get to Avengers, it just keeps getting exponentially more out there, and now suddenly we're at Doctor Strange, and it's just.
I would,
as an aside, I've always wondered why when we see the Hulk, he's a scrawny little guy. Then he bulks up to over 8 feet tall, and his pants still fit him. I mean, to me, like
elastic.
They're always purple. I don't know. Is it part of the radiation effect? They just make the pants purple. I don't get it.
He could be wearing brown trousers or blue jeans, but when he's the Hulk, they're purple.
It's like the gamma
Bruce
radiation.
Banner's a genius, man. He's not going to walk around in pants that he knows is going to just shred off, and then everyone's going to be staring at his big green
Remember when he fell
dongle.
Remember when he fell off the carrier? And
He's
the guy
not.
said,
He's not. What was his name? Dr. Manhattan, who just walks around with a big.
No, blue penis.
He fell off the carrier, and he fell into that warehouse. And he says, "Yeah, here you fell, big and green and big ass, or totally nude, or big ass nude, or something like that." And so he fell. He was butt ass naked, right? So, yeah, he didn't have pants on at that time.
Well, he did fall through a carrier, flying in the sky.
Yeah, but he didn't hit anything.
Yeah, because he charted his trajectory down.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. The Ang Lee version, he jumped even farther all over the place. But anyways, oh my god.
Do not speak of that movie.
It wasn't that bad. It just wasn't that good. So there's a fine line. There's a margin.
Gross and terrible.
There was a margin. There was about one scene that I liked in that movie, but I'll take that one scene. And that's when he goes, "You wouldn't like me when I'm angry." Because that was called back to the Incredible Hulk TV show. Anyways.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. Another big thing I want to get out of the way to talk about. No, not really get out of the way. That's a poor choice of words. To bring up before, because Will's on a time limit tonight. The Star Trek rumor that's going around. There's credible sources, and I do mean this when I say credible sources. I just can't off the top of my head, unless Anthony has it all ready to go.
I want to know what this source is because I haven't seen this rumor.
Okay. We can look that up and link it later, but if for the sake of argument, people are buying into this rumor because it's from sources that have connections to the people behind the scenes, like Brian Fuller, the guy who's the showrunner. And apparently the new Star Trek series coming to All Access very well could take place in the time period of the Red Jackets, meaning before TNG and right after, according to the rumors, it's right after Undiscovered Country, because they want to bring back the villain Klingons without taking away from what's been built up for the friendship in the more modern shows. So they think that was a fun era. It's almost like going back to the Cold War era for James Bond or something like that. And so who knows what class of ship, maybe something we've never seen before and it's just been retconned in, probably the case. And whatever ship it is, hell, maybe it's even the Enterprise B, but with a different captain who took over. I don't know. But we know that...
Do you think they'll use Enterprise?
I think it'll be the Excelsior class Enterprise B, but maybe a different Harriman instead of John Harriman. It'll be someone else. They could have cameos from Sulu. They could have cameos from Uhura. That would make the fans happy.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, like I said, there's credibility to the rumors. The article.
I understand you're saying that there's credibility to the source, but I'm also reminded of some of the early quotes that
he was going to do something totally different.
Yeah, that the direction of the show is going to be something independent of the previous mythos of Star Trek.
Well,
and as much as the fans would enjoy kind of retreading familiar ground, it seems like a really unwise move to do that when they could boldly go in a new direction.
The only reason
you got a brand new series, a brand new, a whole new format that it's being used in, and you want to go where we've gone before.
I have a theory that what they're doing is they're planning ahead, and that this will be the first show to get us back into Star Trek, and they need to remind the audiences or a new generation of Star Trek fans of the most popular era, roughly, of the show to start off the new one, and go slightly forward, but in between, and then in the next spinoff, do what you're talking about, which is go way over in the future. And it kind of makes sense to me as a strategy that they're doing. You start off with a little bit of familiarity and then you go off the deep end. But I could be wrong. But like I said, when you read this article, it sounds like it could be legit. Because Brian Fuller is a huge fan of the TOS era. But they don't want to do the JJ thing where you reboot it way back or go into his universe. So what's the solution? Well, there's a lot of untold stories with possibly the Enterprise B. Or it could be a whole different ship. We don't know. So I think there is credibility to it. But like you said, it sounds a little risky because they really, if they're smart, I agree, they should go way off into the future, not in the past. Again, I think they have an idea, like a map. Spin-offs. You start off here, you go here. But we'll see. What do you guys think?
Wait a minute. They haven't even got their episodes or their series started. They're already talking about spin-offs?
No, that's my opinion.
George is talking about spin-offs.
I was going to say, They've got to
I'm
get
just
this
saying, I think it's
established
a plan
because, again,
that they might
the last
have.
episode, the last series they had on TV, the Enterprise tanked.
And that's why
So they've got to get this one right. They've got to make sure it's actually going to be watchable and people are going to watch it.
You're right, but the point is if you want to get it right, if you start off with a popular, it's kind of like what they did in The Force Awakens when they were, after so long of bringing Star Wars back, they were kind of mimicking the tone, and like you complained about this, you were complaining about the repetitiveness of how it seems so much like the theme of A New Hope, but that's why I think they did that. Actually, JJ did admit that's why he did this, is because that they wanted to create those familiar beats, but at the same time evolve the story forward in a sort of at the same time, simultaneously. Juxtapose, that's the word. They wanted to juxtapose the familiar with the new, introducing us a new generation and also the old fans who've been waiting to see things that they always loved about the old film while at the same time going forward. So I just think it's possible that's what they're doing with Star Trek. That they're juxtaposing the idea of using an era that's familiar to the fans and beloved with going a little into a new direction and telling a different kind of a story.
So they're not going to use J.J. Abrams'
I never believed for a second that they were going to do that for many reasons.
I'm looking at the article right now.
Okay.
And it says that according to the article, that's only going to be for the first season.
Ah. Maybe they go to the future. Maybe they time travel and then they end up staying
some kind of leap ahead after the first season.
Either ahead or to another universe, kind of Voyager-ish, but yet, that could happen. That's an interesting... I've always wondered what would happen if they took a crew from the past and you had them go into the future, and like Rachel Garrett did with Enterprise C, except instead of the crew getting killed, you actually keep them there and make them adapt to the future.
Now, the site that I'm reading this on is treknews.net. I don't know how reliable that's been in the past. And it's not showing me any kind of sources or even saying credible rumors at all. So I'm not really buying this article.
I want to say that they have as much credibility as Star Wars 7.com, where you got to go by the history of whether they're right, how many times it turns out they're right. Maybe you should I'm not sure. I've heard people that I trust tell me, well, if you actually track it and take the time to do what Anthony does, that you will find that in the past...
Why do you keep bringing me up?
Because of the Google thing.
I'm trying to wait to keep you awake, that's all.
That too.
There's okay. I know my stuff, but just because I look up stuff on the internet.
No, that's fine. In this case, it's fine.
Stuff. Sure.
I'm just joking,
okay.
But yeah,
you're dead serious.
But what I'm trying to say is, it's not a bad thing, and that if there are people who, if they research it, there's a history of how often were their old rumors, how often were their old theories correct. And I haven't checked myself, to be honest with you. I'm not going to lie. But I've heard from people that I trust that this site has been more right than wrong in the past, that they might have a source behind the scenes. I don't know, though. I'm just throwing it out there.
But again, getting back to the Star Trek.
Yeah,
I think what Ross said about taking Supergirl off this TV and then putting it under the pay-per-view. They did this with the Enterprise. They had a whole episode or a whole season where they were doing this one thing, and all of a sudden they did this story arc throughout their entire season. That's what drove me away from Enterprise, is that crap that they pulled there. That's not Star Trek. I mean, they bomb the Earth and they go to get revenge and so on. That's not Star Trek. They do this. They have it in their this era that they set up. Maybe right at the end of the last Star Trek, the Star Trek 6. If they do that, and then all of a sudden they jump ahead 300 years, that to me is just a gimmick. I'm like, okay.
It might not be a time travel jump, though. It could be just another universe or a dimension. It could be something like that. It would be a little Voyager-ish for that to happen, but maybe if they do it the right way, it could work.
All right, just did a little more digging.
Okay.
The rumor's also been picked up by IGN, and they usually don't just put out random rumors.
I'll give you a quick example of...
I'm thinking that there might be a little bit more credibility to this.
Yeah, this is what I mean, because sometimes there's a lot of news breaks, and sometimes people don't like to give too much credence to a rumor but Jesus, there's been so many times, and especially with Force Awakens. I remember a year ago, somebody leaked this happened to Batman v Superman, by the way. I think it's Latino news. I'm not sure. Somebody leaked
Latino Review.
Yeah, Latino Review. There's a site that leaked this Force Awakens script about a year ago. 100% accurate. Maybe one small detail was wrong. So if they've told, for example, Episode 8 behind the scenes, I think they have a source. That's why it turns out they're right. So they obviously won't reveal their source because then that person won't be able to help them anymore because they'll put a stop to it. But when you get that kind of level of detail, including Batman v Superman, same site, I can't remember, again, off the top of my head, whoever it was, they also leaked the Batman v Superman script. Only thing they were wrong about out of the whole leak was they said that there were scenes with the 3 Green Lanterns, Guy Gardner, Hal Jordan, and Jon Stewart, that were undercover observing what they called the Kryptonian. And maybe that was in some original draft, and that's what they ended up getting for their leak. Maybe the draft got changed, and that's why it didn't end up happening. But the only thing that they were wrong about Batman v Superman in their entire leaked script outline was that there were the 3 Green Lanterns were, observing everything going on and reporting back to the Guardians of Oa or whatever. And again, that could have been an earlier draft. So when you get that level of detail and only a tiny bit of it's wrong, so they've got some kind of source, somebody leaking drafts, something. And that's why I think that it's possible that these guys have a source behind the scenes. And the only reason it may not turn out to be true is they could change their minds. They might have this idea pitched, and they might be going, this is where we're leading. But Brian Fuller's still building his team up. So maybe one of them will end up saying, I don't think this is a good idea. And so at the time this was reported, it was true, and they were headed in that direction, but then they end up changing it. So that could happen too.
I've got the source.
Okay.
It's from Birth Movies Death.
Do you know how accurate they've been in the past, by any chance?
No idea, but IGN is reporting on it, so there's got to be some credibility to it.
I agree. I mean, if it turns out to be true, I'm fine with it. If they find a way to make it both, like you said, like they start off like this and they change it in a different direction, like they after the first season, that's never been done before. Because usually if they make that decision on how the plot's going to work, it starts off with the pilot, like the way Voyager got stuck at the end of the first episode.
And something that just occurred to me.
What's that?
We do have, director's name.
Oh, it's the guy from Wrath of Khan.
Yes.
I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but yeah.
I mean, his experience with Star Trek was in that... Yeah, Nicholas Meyer. His experience in Star Trek was from that era.
It's kind of all lines up a little bit, and I love the red jacket uniforms. I won't mind that at all.
Right. I mean, the ones with the fastened at the shoulder. Yeah.
They're absolutely the most popular uniforms among the fans if you take polls. I mean, they were the most militant looking. Gene Roddenberry hated them because they were too militant, but he got
monster maroon.
Yeah. His decision got overridden by Nicholas Myers when they did Wrath of Khan, but Roddenberry was very adamant that their uniform makes them look too military. But if this is true, then if Nicholas Myers is involved, working with Brian Fuller, they're going to possibly bring a new spin on the militant aspect of Starfleet. I don't know. There's a lot that could be.
Well, I mean, they could, like I said, they could just be setting it in an era that people are familiar with. I think
in the beginning,
Undiscovered Country is one of the most popular of the Star Trek.
No, actually, it's not. It's not.
Well, Wrath of Khan for me is my favorite, but I mean that and the Undiscovered Country are the two best ones.
Undiscovered Country actually didn't do well in polls.
Breaking. This is pretty big here. I'm reading this directly from the site that posted the initial leak or rumor. A trusted source has chimed in and told me that it looks like the show will be a seasonal anthology, which means that the first season will be set post-Undiscovered Country, but after that, the entire Star Trek universe is potentially open.
Like
so
the Captain's
those of you who are hoping for a post-Dominion War show, don't give up hope. That could come someday. Every season can potentially be from any point in the Star Trek universe.
American Horror Show. That's what they're doing.
Cast members, then.
I love this idea.
I do too.
I am salivating at this idea.
I know. Listen. There's two things that I just got from what you just said. There's a proven success story with the HBO series American Horror Story. Every season is a different story, and the other one is those books, The Captain's Tales. What if it's told from the point of view of people talking at a table about whatever.
A different crew, a different ship, a different captain, a different challenge from anywhere in the Star Trek universe.
That's awesome.
It can be from the far future. It can be from TOS. It could be from Archer. It could be from Pike, April, Picard, anyone, anywhere.
That makes more sense. But that means they're going to have different casts.
Yes, but I just brought up American Horror Story, they've had nothing but... If they're using that as one of their inspiration sources for showing that this sort of bold move could work, American Horror Story does that every season, and it's been going for like almost 10 years. And when they do it, they do a whole different era, a whole different group of people every single season. But they do it seasonally. Sometimes 2 years, sometimes. Like for example, Lady Gaga playing the vampire that she plays. That's actually going on year 2 because of how popular it was. But they often will jump time periods. Sometimes we meet the same characters, like for a vampire, for example, in the past and the future. But yeah, they have so much potential to play with in this playground if they do this. Damn, you blew my mind, Ross. Good research. Anthony, take notes. I'm joking. What's your opinion, Anthony? You've been quiet. He's probably researching a lot.
I think he's asleep. Or he's eating.
We might have put him asleep, that's true.
I think so.
Or he could be pissed. I don't know. I was joking mostly.
No, he's not angry, but
I say he's probably eating.
He's not eating mac and cheese, I can tell you that much.
Unless you accidentally coat it in his chicken.
Maybe he roasted a tribble, I don't know. He had to defer it probably first. Oh my god, dude! I gotta post something about this on the Starfinder or something else after we get done with the show. That theory makes total sense, and it would be awesome because they've already proven with American Horror Story and with the Captain's Table that I want to say style, I guess, for lack of a better word off the top of my head, could work. That narrative frame, that's interesting. I'm wondering if they'll do some kind of a through line where there's common characters through some kind of temporal war or something. I don't know.
Or descendants of characters.
Like a generational story? That could be true.
I mean, that's pretty well established in Star Trek already. You had Sulu's daughter at the helm of the Enterprise B.
What if they do a story where they get lost in space somewhere and they have to live on... Like, you remember the Enterprise story?
You mean Voyager?
Well, hold on. Well... But not more. I'm thinking more like, remember Lorianne, T'Pol's son, with Trip in the alternate timeline where they became a generational ship? What if they did something like that?
No, I don't think a generational ship because again, that's too kind of like, Voyager.
No, I like the idea of characters being descendants of characters from previous crews. I mentioned what was her name?
Oh my god! You just hold on. What if they have a time agent as the main link to all these shows, where he's trying to do his duty, and he has to go undercover on each ship, and he hops from one season, he's on like the Enterprise B, and in season 2, in order to continue...
You talking about Daniels?
Well, a new character. What if, or a group of time agents, what if he has to go from... What if he's like Quantum Leap? He starts off where he's like Sam, and he goes from like the Enterprise B to... beyond Star Trek, The Next Generation, and then like even all the way to the 30th century. I mean, he keeps having to report to a new time era because of the war, and his dudes telling him, you got to go here, you got to go here. And so each season, this is the character that's our lens filter to keep consistency, sort of like Rory.
A recurring guest star is what you're talking about.
Well, he could be the main character, but what I'm trying to say is that in order to do this era jumping, he's a time agent who has a mission, and he has to do it, and each season he's on a new ship or space station in a different era. That could work. There's so many things that could end up being the situation in this.
That last update really did leave a lot of possibilities open. That should be pretty amazing.
Let's let the viewers sink that one in, because we know that on Subspace Radio, which is one of our syndicators, there's so many Star Trek fans. So this one,
I'm waiting for Mike, Nick, and Terry to pick it up. They're going to have a field day with that one.
Oh, man. You just blew my mind. I'm going to report this theory so that we have the exclusive on that before we even air this episode. I'm going to post it on Super Geeks and share it and do whatever, because this... Ross, you're my hero.
I try.
You back yet, Anthony?
Nope.
Maybe he died. Remember I talked about that in Club 602? And what if somebody comes in and kills you and nobody would know on the podcast? Maybe a time agent went back in time and took him out because he was going to reveal some information.
Let's move on.
Yeah. All right. So Ross blew our minds. We could keep talking about it, but I think there's too much energy for that, so it will get carried away into an... I know that, Will, you had a limited time.
I gotta go. So.
Yeah. I'm sorry that Anthony's probably AFK for a reason he can't help. Maybe, he got a stomachache. But I want to thank you guys for joining me. Ross, like I said, you blew my mind. I can't wait to hear this back. So, all right. Well, anybody got one last thing they want to bring up?
Nope. It's a good show.
All right. That was an interesting episode. Okay, guys. Well, I want to thank you for joining me. Anthony will be back next week unless he's dead. And we will talk to you next time.